Okay, you guys, AI is literally about to get a lot of business owners in trouble. And here are the 5 biggest mistakes that legally could be putting your business at risk because you're overlooking how to actually protect yourself. Okay, let's get into it. I'm attorney Domonique Price, and I simply help business owners legally protect themselves from an IP privacy systems perspective so that they can do their best to lawsuits. In this video, I'm going to break down the top AI legal risks that you might not be putting guardrails around your business to properly use AI smarter. Because at the end of the day, AI is here to stay, especially as it relates to our business. So we need to just make sure that we're actually protecting ourselves. At the end of the day, this isn't a hypothetical. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, has already launched an entire enforcement department focused on AI hype and enabling people to not marketing deception from an AI perspective, okay? So let's start with the risk that hits creators and business owners first and foremost. And this is content and IP, which is what most people are using AI to actually generate. So the risk number one is the copyright issues as it relates to AI content that isn't actually yours. One of the major issues that we're seeing is that what people are doing, a lot of business owners, is that they're publishing actual AI blogs, ebooks, courses, scripts, visual aids as is. So they're taking it directly from the AI tool and they're publishing it without actually creating a human aspect in it. So where the lawsuit exposure comes from is the risk when those outputs end up being too closely to already protected work. Think about how AI works. AI is literally scrubbing the internet, scrubbing knowledge, and they're regurgitating it. So the likelihood of there being concepts or excerpts in there that are completely copywritten is extremely high. So one of the main things that I want you to do is before you hit publish, as a business owner, I want you to be putting things through a plagiarism check and make sure that there aren't any points. Actually take the time to just use AI as a first draft perspective. And whether it's you or somebody from your team, that output should actually have some human hands on it. That's how you get it to the level of being able to be copywritten, is because you've actually used some human intellectual genius to actually transform it to that next level. So for high risk assets, when we're talking about ebooks and courses, you need to run a plagiarism check. You can also do a reverse image search on Google when you're getting images from AI as well. This is really going to help you to diminish using other people's commercial work without permission. Now, let's talk about the risk people trigger every day without even realizing what they pasted into AI, especially as a business owner. Okay, so risk number 2 is the confidentiality and trade secret leakage that is happening with AI. What people are doing is they are pasting contracts, client disputes, employee information, financial SOPs into the so what it is that people are actually doing is they're actually posting contracts, employee information, SOPs, financial records actually into AI, which is a complete public domain. And so that breaches certain confidentiality, trade secret protections that are in most client service-based businesses. The regulatory issue, which is like a really big issue, is they're not just combing through data, but also privacy issues as well. So from a protection standpoint, simple pill that I want you to swallow is do not upload personal client information into AI without scrubbing that personal data, because you don't want to open yourself up to potential privacy issues that can relate to how you're using your client's information. The next thing that I want us to talk about is where a lot of people get caught up is recordings and transcripts and voice and likeness. So how many of us have recorded like a webinar and we've now wanted to repurpose that into our businesses from a content perspective? Well, if you took that directly from Zoom, and even though you had a recording in progress announcement that automatically goes up, you didn't actually disclaim that you would be repurposing that content for marketing potential, that you weren't going to be using that transcript for other business needs. So in plain English, you can't just be recording calls and videos without actually putting some form of disclaimer in place. The other issue too is using your voice to mimic someone else's or using your photo to look like someone else. This literally is a copyright issue. So what you want to do is you want to One, make sure that you have disclaimers. You want to always make sure that you are making sure that your clients know that you're recording, because you don't want to open yourself up to larger liability. Now let's talk about the fastest way AI hype is also getting you in trouble from a Federal Trade Commission issue. So the Federal Trade Commission really focuses on consumer protection. So a lot of people are washing consumer guarantees. So like AI lawyer or guaranteed results via AI or done for you AI store will make you $10,000. This is super, super dangerous because this gets into consumer protection territory. So regulators are literally heavily watching to see what your marketing looks like. So don't say AI powered unless you can substantially articulate what exactly is being used, because this literally could get your business flagged, and FTC complaints and penalties are not for the faint of heart. Okay, let's get into that. If you sell a business opportunity or coaching, be extremely careful with earning claims, with guarantees, and how you're transitioning that into use. Now let's talk about the internal risks like HR and hiring. So this is a huge issue because if you're using AI to comb through, say, for example, screening resumes or scoring a candidate, even drafting a termination letter can typically have a biased outcome or inconsistent records. So you want to be careful using an AI-generated HR system. One way to protect yourself is AI can assist, but never allow that to be the final decision maker. Make sure that you have criteria if you're using AI to audit employees. Now, the one thing I really want us to make sure that we talk about is using AI to generate contracts. Of course, your contract girlie is going to have to talk about this real quick. I'm not telling you not to use it from an outline perspective, but what people are actually doing is they're going into chat and they're saying, draft my client agreement, draft me up a partnership agreement, draft me up terms and conditions. Why this creates real risk is you potentially could be getting the wrong jurisdiction-specific rules and information. Also, you're missing key clauses like scope of payment, enforcement, IP ownership, confidentiality limitations, robust dispute resolutions, making sure that your refund policy doesn't conflict with other terms. Chat's not going to do that, especially if you're in a regulated industry that has higher scrutiny. So you want to be super, super cautious. And really quick, even if you have the most sophisticated team, you're going to be facing huge liabilities if you don't get a handle on how you're using AI in your business. So again, I'm not saying don't use AI. I want you to be safe in the way that you use AI. So use an AI outline to make sure that you are not potentially going to get yourself in trouble from a jurisdiction perspective and enforceability perspective. You just want to make sure that you are using AI to the best of your abilities and not creating more legal liability around your business. So what do you do with all of the information that I just told you? You install guardrails. You make sure that you have outlines and checklists for all of the ways that you are using chats and making sure that it follows a legal guardrail. So here's how I would suggest putting in an AI legal guardrail framework into your business. One, policy. What will and what you won't put into AI so that your employees understand what they can and cannot use AI for. Second thing is permission. Get consent when you are going to be recording third parties. Number 4 is contracts, clauses. You want to be very careful with how you're using chat to do those things. My biggest suggestion is use chat to give you an outline if there's a large agreement that you're reviewing, but always have legal counsel, especially if you're drafting a contract from scratch. You can have them review it once you have the outline. That'll cut cost on your legal billable hours. But at the end of the day, it's going to protect you from using AI and using that as a crutch. So again, I don't want you guys to be one of those businesses getting fined by the FTC or getting sued from a client because you use their information improperly. These are things that are literally going to help you as we continue to navigate in this AI world. One of the main things that I tell people all the time is if you don't have a lawyer on standby, if you don't have legal counsel or general counsel in your business, I highly suggest doing a legal audit so that we can come in and look at your business from a compliance standpoint, see where you are structurally, and figure out if there are any additional contracts and terms that need to be in place in your business to make sure that you are as protected as possible as we continue to grow and build. Again, it's your favorite attorney, Domonique Price from Go Price Law. I hope this information was helpful. Make sure you drop a comment and let me know what questions you have or if there's anything in the future you would want me to cover. Talk soon.